But this time we're talking about mastering adult friendships. The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. My continuation on this exploration of this book to help you live a healthier, happier life, allowing people to be who they are, accepting that, and allowing yourself to live in a more positive, happier space because of that. Now, I have a playlist here if you'd like to go back and revisit the other chapters, but mastering adult friendships. Now, it's interesting. We would tend to think perhaps that as we grow and progress, that mastering those adult friendships might be a little easier, but is that truly the case? Now, the reality of it is, I believe that people come through our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And sometimes they come in for a reason, they stay for a season, and then pretty soon it becomes a lifetime, lifelong friend. But if you can approach every relationship in your life that way, reason, season, lifetime, and be open to the possibility that people are going to come through your life, support you, nurture you, challenge you, grow you in all different ways, you will set yourself up to let them and be much happier yourself. So some keys with that, one thing that I've realized throughout my adult life is things are going to be reason, season, lifetime. Now, I come from the airline industry. I've mentioned that before. So I've lived in a lot of different locations and I've moved around, and sometimes by choice. And well, it was always by choice. I always had an option. But, it took me out of spaces where maybe I wasn't quite ready to go, but needed to for this growth or my husband's job or whatever it was. And sometimes that became reason, season, lifetime. Now, today, thanks to social media, it's not that difficult to stay connected or get reconnected with some of those past friendships. And now in my 60s, like many of you, or 50s, 40s, whatever, it's been easier for us to go back and find those childhood relationships, people who lived down the block from us that we graduated with, went to prom with, whatever it is. And that can be a beautiful thing or a not so beautiful thing, depending. But it's important to note that adult friendships are unique in that, unlike when we're kids and you get home from school and you know that you're going to change your clothes, grab a snack, maybe do your homework, and then you're going to go hit the neighborhood and play with Susie Q and Johnny and all of that. That was just a given. As we become adults, we get busy in our own lives. We get busy in our career path, or let's even go back to college. We get busy, we go off to different colleges. Then we get busy in our career path, relationships, marriage, children, moving, all of that. And then, of course, as we age and our parents age, often we become caregivers as well. And often it can be very difficult to manage those adult relationships. I know for me, it's not that I mean to exclude my friends. It's not that I mean to go 6 months without checking in. It's just that real life gets busy. When you can accept that about yourself and give yourself grace and accept that about other people, you will begin to nurture and grow and appreciate adult relationships in what I believe are the way that they're best made to be built, grown, and nurtured. I mentioned moves. Sometimes moves get factored in, and so people move and distance separates us. Sometimes there are difficult spouses that come along. Sometimes, as bestie as our one friend is, they marry someone who doesn't really appeal to us, and we have to remain silent. We don't get to micromanage, or ideally we don't try to micromanage or pass judgment, except maybe under the covers at night, on their spousal choice. But sometimes those different things can create rifts and separate us and make us not want to be around that person as much as we used to. And that is okay. Sometimes as we grow up and change and explore other things, we realize that some of those friendships become energy vampires or energy suckers, or they take more out of us than they give to us. There's no sense trying to change that person. They are who they are. And if you let them and also let yourself feel that way, you'll find that some of these adult friendships will just naturally work their way out of your life. It doesn't mean you're not sad. It doesn't mean you shouldn't grieve them. And it also doesn't mean that you don't maybe want to try to hold on to that friendship. But the reality of it is, which we're going to get in the next chapter, we can't change another person. It's not our job to change anyone else. And I always think about that with myself. Am I here looking for anybody else to change me? Maybe. I'm here looking for others to create growth in my life, but not try to force their way of thinking and force change upon me. And so often when we're feeling a struggle with someone, we have to stop and think, what is it about that person that is annoying me? What is it about that person that no longer feels as comfortable with me as it used to be? So it's important that we begin to ask those questions and then answer those questions and just see what we come up with. Because again, when we let them, we also let ourselves just be. Now, I like to incorporate the book, The Four Agreements, in with just about everything. And one of the best line, although there's only four and they're all fantastic, but one of them is don't make assumptions. So if you're feeling a distance from someone, don't assume that it's something that you've done. Don't assume that it's something that you said. Don't make any assumptions. Reach out to that person and just say, hey, I'm feeling a little distance between us. Is everything okay? Or you don't even have to say you're feeling a distance. You might just ask, hey, haven't heard from you in a while. I realize I haven't reached out either. Is everything okay with you? Just check in and avoid any assumption making if at all possible. And then one thing that I want to really encourage is, as an adult especially, give with no expectations. Set a goal every day to reach out to someone. Now, through social media, we've probably overextended our reach of people who we're in a tight community with. When you think about, me and the paleo lifestyle and the cave woman lifestyle and, really getting back to nature and living as we used to, we lived in tribes, we lived in communities, and your circle didn't extend that far. I know back with the old Verizon commercials, it was you and the 250 people standing behind you. Now it can be thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions, if you're a social media influencer or something like that, of the followers that we have. We can't expect to be tight with every single one of those connections. So determine who your important tribe is and then set a goal every day, every other day, once a week. Choose someone within that group that you just reach out to and give with no expectation. Hey, just checking in. How are you doing today? Hey, I thought of you and just wanted to brighten your day. Something like that. Give with no expectation. And what that means is, if they don't text you back right away, if they don't call you back right away, if they don't message you back right away, if they don't get back in touch with you at all, avoid that assumption area. Just do it again in a couple of months or a couple of weeks or whatever. Hey, just circling back. I heard this song, whatever. For me, I am a huge music buff, and I have so many memories with people, the important people in my life, where we were somewhere and this song came on, or we were at a concert together, or whatever it is. And that's one of the things that I try to do when I hear a song on the radio or comes on Sirius or whatever it is. If it's a song that triggers a memory with me, then I will reach out to the person and just say, oh my gosh, remember when we laughed hysterically about this? I had one friend that I did with for years, and months would go by with no acknowledgement. Sometimes I wouldn't get an acknowledgement at all. And it really bothered me for a long time because I racked my brain trying to figure out what I had done wrong. And finally, I just had to let myself off the hook, thinking, this person is a grown-up too. If I have somehow offended them or they feel like I have, the ball's in their court to reach out to me and say, hey, I'd like to clear something up with you. I've been showing up as my best self, continuing to reach out, continuing to try to, maintain that relationship. But if it's not something that they want any longer, I'm going to accept that. I'm going to allow that. And I'm going to simply let them, as hard as it might be and as sad as it might be. And in some cases, that's been how it is. I have a friend from childhood that I did that with. We were Supertramp fans and Carole King fans. And Take the Long Way Home, when that comes on by Supertramp, I would always send her a text. Rosanna by Toto, that was another one. We were pom-pom girls together and had a little dance routine to that. And then Carole King, You've Got a Friend. Unfortunately, I lost her a few years ago. She passed. And when I hear that music today, I'm kind of getting choked up just saying this. When I hear those songs today, my first reaction is to want to grab my phone and send her a text. And It's a place I can't go anymore, but I can go there in my mind and I can allow that to bring joy into my life versus sadness. Remember what was instead of thinking about, oh, what I don't have anymore. That can be very, very powerful. We can still maintain those powerful memories and those strong relationships from the past, even if we're not currently experiencing them in the present. And then if you've reached a point, maybe you've moved. This was a situation that I went through not that long ago. I had relocated to Scottsdale. It was Cinco de Mayo, one of my favorite holidays, even though only people in the US seem to celebrate that. I don't even know why, but it seemed fun with Mexican food and at one point margaritas. Not so much into that anymore. But it was Cinco de Mayo. My husband was flying and I wanted to go do something. And I started reaching out to friends. Hey, you want to meet for a margarita? You want to meet for happy hour? You want to go have a taco? Whatever it was. And everybody was like, I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm busy. All these people had these plans. And I thought, man, I need to get a life. And I went out on Facebook and I found a group here in the Scottsdale area. I joined the group and I immediately planned 2 events. This was a group that had all kinds of events. I thought, I'm not going to wait for an event. I'm going to be the planner. I planned a happy hour at a Mexican restaurant that was only 3 miles from my house. And then I planned a Saturday brunch that, again, wasn't far from my house and was close to the shopping area where I could go shopping. I created those events. I put them out there. 12 or 13 people showed up at my very first Mexican little fiesta happy hour. When I showed up with a book in my purse thinking, most of these people don't know me, and I don't know if they want to meet a stranger, although it was one of those kind of groups. Like I say, 12 or 13 people showed up, had a great time, and from there, I've just kept that going. And that was probably 6 or 7 years ago. I've done all kinds of things with this group of women. We have so much fun. And that's a way to be the party starter. I share that in my holiday series as a pilot wife and years spent alone during the holidays. I have a whole series on the holidays, and you can go to my travel life by a pilot wife here on YouTube. And I have a series there too for surviving the holidays. And there's a lot of good stuff in there that fits for anybody who's struggling with being alone. It doesn't matter whether you're married to a pilot, whether you're in aviation or any of that. So that's kind of what I have for you from the Let Them theory on adult friendships. Reason, season, lifetime. Keep those things in mind. Please drop me a comment below and let me know how you've experienced this phase of your life with adult friendships. Any radical things that have ever happened to you. Let's have a conversation about all of that. Subscribe to, grab my guide, I should say, over at lowertoxiclife.com. Watch the rest of my playlist on the Let Them theory by Mel Robbins. And I look forward to sharing with you again soon on another video and in our conversation below. I'm Jackie Almer. Thanks for spending this time here with me today.